Okay, so we saw what happened if we had a product of two functions. The derivative was not as easy as just taking the derivative of the individual pieces. Same is going to be true with quotients. So if I look at this quotient, if I simplify this, this is just the derivative of x. So we know this should be equal to 1. If I tried to take the derivative of the top and the bottom separately, I would get 6x to the 5th over 5x to the 4th, which simplifies to 6/5 x. These are definitely not equal to each other. 1 was the correct answer because it worked from simplifying. So the second method does not work. So we cannot take the derivative of the numerator and the derivative of the denominator separately. Calculus doesn't work quite as nice as we would like it to. This one's going to behave a little bit stranger than the product rule did. So what's going to happen here is we're going to do something a little bit funky, and I'm going to write it out as low d high minus high d low over low squared. This is what we're going to do if we can't simplify the original expression. In this problem, it was much easier to simplify. But let me show you that this will work. So when I say low and high, I'm talking the high is my numerator, the low is my denominator. So my low is x to the 5th. My d high is the derivative of the top. So that's 6x to the 5th. Minus high, that's just my x to the 6th. D low is the derivative of x to the 5th, so 5x to the 4th, and my low squared is x to the 5th squared. Okay, so this is the quotient rule. Let's hope that that simplifies to give us 1, because we claim that it should be 1. So let's see what we get here. So we get 6x to the 10th minus 5x to the 10th. X to the 5th squared is x to the 10th because I multiply exponents. In the numerator, I'm just going to have x to the 10th over x to the 10th, and that simplifies to 1. So excellent. So this is how we deal with quotients in general. We do low d high minus high d low over low squared. You can also write that in terms of f and g, and that's how this is done here. I don't suggest doing that. I suggest remembering low d high minus high d low over low squared. Much easier than learning g of x, f prime of x minus f of x, g prime of x over g of x squared. That's hard to remember. So this is the quotient rule. Try remembering it like that. So let's apply the quotient rule to this next one. This next one I couldn't simplify first, so I need the quotient rule. So this is my low. This is my high. So I start with low d high. So 4x minus 1 is my low. My d high is going to be 6x squared plus 2x. That's the derivative of my numerator. Minus high. I leave the high alone. And my d low is 4x cubed. Okay, notice that the quotient rule has subtraction in it. The product rule had addition. And now I need low squared. And we just leave it like this. This could probably be simplified a little bit. Just leave it. I'm okay if you don't simplify quotient rule problems. Okay, let's just keep going. So this one we need a quotient rule on again, because we have two things being divided. So my low is e to the x. My d high will be 1/2 x to the negative 1/2, because x to the 1/2 is the same thing as root x, minus high, d low, the derivative of e to the x is itself, which is nice, over low squared. This is my derivative. Okay, and let's do one more. Okay, so I need low, d high. Ooh, this is fun. The d high is going to be fun here because I need a product rule on x e to the x. So the derivative of x e to the x will be 1 e to the x. I took the derivative of x, which is 1. I left the e to the x alone. Now I leave the x alone. I take the derivative of e to the x. The derivative of 4 is just 0, so it's going to go away. So this is my d high. So this is, we're seeing where we can mix product and quotient rule together. Don't be worried, we'll do it in class. Now I have minus high, d low. Thankfully, my d low is just 1. I don't need a product rule there. And then all over low squared. Okay, so hopefully the product and quotient rule makes some sense to you. We'll get a lot more practice in class, but you definitely want to memorize the format of these. Don't try and memorize things in terms of F's and G's. Remember how the process works.